What's up, everybody? How you doing? And welcome back to another episode of Living Life Intently. I'm one of the hosts, Lee Frazier, and I'm going to be a solo host today. This week is kind of like a season update, I guess a mid-season update, and an update on what's to come with Live Life Intent, stuff that we're going to be getting off the ground very soon and announcing, and you guys kind of have a sneak peek or sneak listen, I guess, at what we got going on here in Cape Breton Island. Sorry for being delayed in getting this out. It's been a lot going on with stuff here on site at the campground, aka my house, and with everything that we've got coming up the next 2 weeks. I'm leaving on Monday and guiding the Across the Highlands expedition, which goes from Franny Mountain all the way over to Shetty Camp. Is the goal. 5-day snowshoe trip, 4 nights. We cross over White Hill, which is the highest elevation in Nova Scotia. And then we cross over the Pinnacle on one of the second last day, which is the second highest location in Nova Scotia. What's crazy about it, though, is that there's actually like 3 different groups going to be in the backcountry of the park around the time that we're going to be there. So this is a first. And when I was talking to the guys at the park via email the other day, I said how amazing this is, that there's actually kind of like an uptick of people accessing the backcountry in the park. I know one of the groups going back, and the other group I just heard through mutual friends. So you never know. We might randomly run into a crew back there. I think back kind of around the Pinnacle is what I'm thinking. But how crazy would that be? Run into people in the middle of the Highlands in the middle of the winter. And it's looking like it's going to be blowing pretty good back there. Anyways, other than that, we have a trade show that the boys are heading up to attend because I'm guiding across the Highlands. Canary, my other co-host, Jonathan Canary, and Alec, who is one of our main guides, who, if you've been on any guided trips with us, or the bigger trips over the last couple of years, you've definitely met Alec. He's been on this podcast before. They are heading up to Toronto on the 24th for the outdoor adventure show, which is a kind of like an outdoor adventure trade show that happens every year. We bought a booth, so Live Life Intense is hosting a booth. It is booth 358. So if any of you guys listening to this podcast are in Ontario or Toronto, and you don't have passes to this, reach out to us via DMs or message Canary on Instagram. We have 10 free passes we can give out, and I've been really dropping the ball on promoting that on social media, which you'll probably see some of that coming up in the next week. But at the trade show is tons of other tour companies, tourism boards, showcases. Like there's a whitewater pool where they're showcasing tons and tons of stuff. I don't have the program in front of me, but you can get it if you Google outdoor adventure show. There is 4 different kind of like stages where there's presentations being performed, like Les Stroud, Survivor Man's there. We're doing 2 presentations promoting a wilder side of Cape Breton Island, really trying to showcase what else is here rather than what's traditionally been marketed through tourism, which is promoting the seawall stuff, pack rafting, whitewater, canoe trips, camping, backcountry, like all the stuff that we've been trying to really push over the last couple of years, trying to get into a different audience. So if you're in Toronto or in Mississauga or want to come into the city for a day or whatever, pop in, give us a DM. We'll link you up with some free tickets. And if you're around, you can come and catch one of the presentations. We've got one at 4:30 on Friday. That is the 24th of February. And we've got another one directly following Les Stroud's presentation on Saturday at 2:45. So that's 4:30 Friday, 2:45 on Saturday, and it's at the Best of Canada Adventure Stage. So other than that stuff, I'm just going to pour a nice little coffee here. And as far as this podcast is concerned, we're going to be taking a kind of like a 2-week break because I'm going to be guiding on this trip next week, and Canary's going to be in Toronto. We're lining up some pretty cool podcasts to be recorded at this trade show. So we're going to get some people that are not from the East Coast, some people you might be following on YouTube. Hint, hint. And really trying to kind of reach a different audience with this and get some take advantage of the opportunity is what I'm trying to say. But other than this podcast, and as far as Live Life Intense is concerned, this summer is going to be Man, it is going to be probably the funnest one yet and the craziest one yet. We're going to be starting super early this spring. If you've been following along on our socials and through, me yapping on this podcast about doing pack rafting and paddling trips on the rivers here in Cape Breton Island, what we're gearing up for in the spring is to do some training and workshops for intro to pack rafting and river kayaking. I went away in November down in Shelburne and did my instructor training through Paddle Canada. So we're going to be offering a couple weekend courses and daily workshops. We're trying to work with the park right now and get some permits in place so we can use a little bit of the Shetty Camp River. Other than that, we'll be going to use the Margaree River. We're also going to be putting up some dates for the Margaree River pack rafting kind of weekend trip, which is going to be a little shorter than the one we promoted last year. We're kind of trying to squeeze everything into a weekend rather than over a 4 or 5 day period, trying to shorten these trips so that it's more accessible to everybody else. Obviously, the price point is going to be lowered a little bit as well. But if you're new to this podcast and listening to this, we're going to be offering group trips in the Upper Margaree, kind of like weekend trips. Get here on Friday, leave Saturday, camp on the river, and finish on Sunday. We'll probably finish down at Margaree Forks, right across from Live Life Intense, across from the campground and all your vehicles. We're also putting together rental and shuttle packages for pack rafting specifically on the Margaree, and for anybody that wants to take the pack rafts from here and all the gear and kits. So we'll be supplying the boats themselves, the pumps. We got dry suits coming in. So ideally, the river levels here in Cape Breton are the best for higher water in May, like April, May. June, it gets a little dicey, but kind of later in the year, October, November, it gets a little better. So we're going to be supplying rentals. So that would be the pack raft, the dry suit, the helmet, PFDs, dry bags that fit within the pontoons, all that sort of stuff. So it's like one package. And if you guys want shuttles, we'll coordinate the shuttle as well. Other than that, we have a food truck, which if you've been here at the campground this past summer, you probably heard me yap about this food truck. Good friends of mine, Taylor Morrison and Julia Cormier, are going to be hosting a food truck here. I think they're coming in June. So I think we're going to be having that live in June throughout the whole summer. Looking at doing a couple new events. We've got a very cool Canada Day concert that I've been working on for the last little bit. We're going to do a twist of our usual barbecue with the Bite House. I'm pretty excited about this one. This one's going to be bigger than ever. But stay tuned for that. The details should be coming up. I'll try to have all this stuff up by the end of March. We've got some new campsites that are pretty much in place right now. There's going to be wooded group campsites. So it would be for up to like 12 people, 10 to 12 people per group campsite. I've got some new glamping tents, which are all kitted out with wood stoves. They're going to be in place. The platforms are kind of half built right now. We also have kayak, like I mentioned, kayak and pack rafting rentals and training stuff happening in the spring. So those are going to be up. I'll probably have the Margaree River trip up by the end of this weekend. So if you're listening to this podcast, it's probably already live. And all the training stuff will be up after I get back from the Highlands trip. We're just trying to secure some permits and sort out all the insurance stuff now. As far as that, the usual river tours that we're going to be running. CB West is here on site, so paddleboard, kayak rentals. We've got canoe rentals, and we coordinate shuttles. So if you want to go up to, Lake Ainslie and do the whole Southwest River, or if you want to go all the way up the Northeast and do the whole Northeast River, we can coordinate shuttles for that as well. And then we have maps and ideal campsites, like coordinates for ideal campsites along the river that we use on our trips. And then we get into the big trips, the Seawall trail guided trips, which are happening this summer. We've got 6 happening so far. 3 of them are pretty much full. So the June trips are tentatively pretty full right now. I think there might be 1 space on the second one later in the month. We got 1 in July, 1 in August, and 2 in September, and potentially 1 in October. Those are, if you're unfamiliar with the Seawall Trail, this is a 50-kilometer, roughly around 10,000 feet of elevation gain and loss over those 4 days that we hike through the Aspie the Aspie Bay, Paul's Cove Wilderness area. So essentially, we go south to north. So we leave Red River, which is the Paul's Cove trailhead, kind of cut inland, and then end up in Meat Cove on day 4. This is by far my favorite hike right now on Cape Breton Island. It is absolutely fantastic. If you want real backcountry, there is zero trail right now. The only trail that you do actually follow is from Paul's Cove in a couple kilometers, and then when you hit Lowland Cove and Lowland Cove out. Other than that, you're navigating in the real backcountry. But let me tell you, the views and the struggle is definitely real on this. It's like doing Stairmasters all day, but it is totally worth it. If you want to check those out, head to our website. And then finally, for next year, we're looking a year ahead. I'm trying to be really diligent on getting all of the winter expedition dates up super early, and all of like 2024, the larger trips, because I know it takes a lot to plan these for pretty much everybody. So the winter trips for 2024 are going to be up. I have the website actually pulled up in front of me right now. So I don't know the actual dates, but it'll be towards the end of February. By the time you're listening to this podcast, it'll be up on the website. But I mean, other than that's pretty much it. I mean, we have the campground, obviously, running all summer. It opens up in June. I will say, for people listening to this podcast, if you guys are coming down in May, and I know that a lot of people come down to fish trout and whatever in May, the campground's technically not open, but if you give us a message, I mean, if you're just popping up a tent and hanging out and then leaving during the day and don't need a shower, because none of that's usually running by the end of, or within May, it's usually rocking and rolling later in this, towards the start of June when we officially open the campground. Listen, just pop in, let me know, give me a DM. It'll be discounted for everybody staying here, but you can crash here too. There's no problem with that. If you're okay with guys running around, setting up tents and making a little noise and swinging chainsaws in the woods and that sort of stuff during the day, but fill your boots, just send us a DM. The shop's always open here in that time with coffee on and stuff. So you can hang out and, have a coffee, have a beer at the shop, use the Wi-Fi, whatever. But yeah, man, just reach out. We're open. May onward, just fire us a message, and love to have you guys in. And you can kind of get an early look at where everything's going, it's been very fun starting this business and doing this podcast and all the stuff that goes along with it. And just kind of bringing stuff to Cape Breton that hadn't been here when I was a kid, stuff that I saw on YouTube or, on the TV, on Discovery Network, or, all those different networks about stuff, and be like, man, I wish we had that stuff out here. And listen, I'm going to tell you right now that a lot of that stuff, the paddling trips, the backcountry, it's all here. We just got to go look for it and get creative with it and map it. And that's kind of my mission this spring. And if you listen to this podcast, again, I talk about this all the time. Just get creative with adventures, and hopefully by 2024 I'll have more of the rivers off the Highlands mapped, put in locations, identified, rapids documented, all that sort of stuff, and kind of have like an ideal trip kind of coordinated so that I can share that with everybody, and maybe we can get a little more people into the idea of a little bit of whitewater paddling and pack rafting trips and all that sort of stuff. Because listen, man, we have the spot for it. It's just untapped. We just got to dig a little deep and bring it to the forefront, which I'm hoping that we can do in this with this podcast and with this business and going to this trade show. So I'm not going to keep you any longer. I got to finish drinking my coffee and finish getting this work done before we head out on Monday across the Highlands. So again, appreciate every listen, each and every one of you guys. Apologies for being a day behind with this podcast, but I am going to literally take this off this card, upload it, and that's going to be it. So again, follow us at Live Life Intense on all the socials. Oh yeah, and the vlog definitely fell off on that last 2 weeks. Too many things going on. So I'm hoping to get one recorded today after I get this website shit done. And then that'll be uploaded next week. And then we'll have stuff from the Highlands trip and the trade show and, we'll keep her going. Anyways, thanks for listening. Appreciate it, each and every one of you. And maybe we'll see you this summer. Or maybe the boys will see you in Toronto. Peace.